good news that we have a new Korean seminarian, and his name is John. He's 35, and he's very serious, like Brother John, Brother John the Filipino. And it's a great grace for me, and I don't have to learn Korean, and I hope the same thing happens down the line in Japan. Not necessarily with John, it can be somebody else, but at least one vocation to take care of the mission of Japan that would be absolutely perfect. And he came also to the chapel with his mother and his father. Father Noda is very worried about it, but there's nothing we can do about it. We just show them the websites of the society, and Bishop Philly is talking to Cardinal Muller, who does not believe in the Blessed Virgin Mary. At least at the time of Archbishop Lefebvre, Cardinal Ratzinger believed officially, I don't think he believes in her actually, but officially at least he believed in the Blessed Virgin Mary. But this Cardinal Muller does not believe in the Blessed Virgin Mary. He denies that she's a virgin. That is, he believes that she had our Lord as a baby in the same way as all the other women. Whereas our Lord came out of the womb of Our Lady without tearing anything. Just like he went through the stone when he rose from the dead, miraculously, because he's God. And as God, he cannot bring any detriment to his mother when he's born. She can only benefit from being his mother. And that includes her virginity, which was preserved. That's why in the Confiteor you say always, Beatam Mariam Virginem, Beatam Mariam Semper Virginem. Because all the other women, when they are mothers, they are virgins for some time. And once they get married, they lose their virginity. Well, in order to have children, at least. And Our Lady never lost her virginity. And so, after 2 years, they are going back to reopen the discussions, to place themselves under the Novus Ordo. It's terrible. It's a suicide. So we fought very hard 2 years ago, and we are expelled. And those who agreed with us, because there was 50 priests who wrote a letter to Bishop Philly, most of them stayed in the society. Many other priests also don't agree with the agreement with Rome, like Father Torres recently wrote an article in his bulletin in France against the deal. He's still in the society. But all the leaders have been replaced, so that there is barely an outcry as Bishop Philly is doing what he does, whereas 2 years ago there was a big outcry. Now, within the society, the outcry is we can't hear anything. And this is terrible because it means that they're going to sign this time. It looks like, I still pray that it does not happen to them, but it looks like if nobody resists from inside the society, we've been thrown out, so there's nothing we can do for them anymore. But if nobody resists from inside the society, they are finished, they're going to be placed under them. In the meantime, the situation in the official church is getting worse. You've got cardinals now, many of them are openly saying that they are gays. In the past, they kept it for themselves. They're openly saying that they are gays. They even said, this one is my boyfriend. And that's the surrounding of the Pope himself, who is also favorable to the gays. And they are really far gone. And so they are preparing in October what is called a synod, where they're going to also continue to demolish the church. They're going to allow the priests to be married. They're going to allow communion for the divorced people. They're going to reconsider the policy towards the homosexuals, the gays, and other things. I forgot about abortion and contraception. They're going to change also their speech. And I forgot what's the fifth order of business of this synod. So this is not the time to place ourselves under them. And you see, when you place yourself under them, we see with the Fraternity of St. Peter, they pray now to John Paul II. So they say this traditional Mass, but they consider John Paul II as a saint. And in some of them also are putting John Paul II in their Mass also on his feast, on the so-called feast. They're going to say the Mass of John Paul of their son John Paul II. And even if they say all the while say in the traditional Mass, which is very strange, that you have liberal and even modernist priests who are saying the traditional Mass. And that's quite amazing. So we stay with our Blessed Mother, we stay with her purity and her kindness, and with the same stance as before. And also another news was 2 nuns, Dominican nuns, were expelled, first sent away, and then they joined the resistance just a few days ago. They are Dominican teaching nuns. I know the father of one of them, Mr. de Cosa, and they are teaching in 10th grade and 12th grade. They are titular mothers. It's called titular mothers, that is, they run a class in 12th grade and a class in 10th grade. So they went to near Avrier, near Father Bruno. Probably they're going to start a school. They're going to continue their work. But it's much harder for nuns to do what they just did than for a priest, because I can go around, say the mass, and get some support. When you are a nun, you are pretty much on your own. You don't have much support. It's very hard to leave your community, and it's also very hard to find support once you've left. And so it's an encouraging sign. And we hope and pray that more priests will open their eyes, on this crisis. And in the meantime, in the seminary, I have 5 seminarians this time. So 4 Filipinos and 1 Korean. So one is in 5th year, another one is entering 2nd year, but he might join the other 3 first years because I don't have much teaching staff. But Pico is arriving in Australia to relieve me from the Australian apostolate. And then, when you think that everything is quiet and nice, we have to move the seminary elsewhere because a lady in Manila is telling us to leave because she fell out with the Brother John. She's very angry at us, and so she's throwing us out of that building. But we have found a place to relocate for rent nearby, not too expensive, I hope. And after that, we will buy some land in the island of Camiguin, north of Mindanao, near Bohol. Very nice place. It's a big volcano there. But during World War II, they didn't even see Japanese soldiers. It is such a peaceful place, and it's so far away from the rest of the world that even during World War II, the Japanese did not come there. They invaded the rest of the Philippines, but they didn't see a Japanese soldier. So they got no hard feelings with Japanese. They simply, maybe they heard a few booms and explosions far away, and that's not even sure. And they had their happy lives from 1941 to 1945, and then the Americans went around for some years, but they carry on regardless. Very happy people, very simple people. But there is a big volcano, a dry volcano there, that erupted and that killed 10 or 20,000 people in 1949. A big volcanic eruption. That's the only liability that there is in that place. And so it's also a step that we had to take because, if we don't own the place where we are simply guests. So if the master of the house tells us, ciao, bye-bye, we have to pack and leave, and we are not even sure to keep all the things that belong to us. So those are the adventures. God grants us those vocations. They seem to be serious. And there is possibly 2 more. Possibly 2 more, yes. 1 more from Camiguin and 1 from Nigeria. But these 2 are improbable. Or probably not this year. I'm not very sure. But at least I've got 3 more. 3 more, or maybe 5 more. So I'm going to start the seminary either with 5 seminarians, that's minimal, or with 7 seminarians. And if you want to know, that is my main work. The missions, visiting you, Korea and Philippines and where, that's secondary. My main worry is the seminary. And so pray very much for the success of this seminary. Keep it in your intention of prayers. And make sure that also down the line, it won't be a Korean who will visit Japan, but a Japanese priest who will eventually continue to take care of your soul and develop the missions here in Japan. I'm simply here to open the way for him, for my successor. And if I can diminish and it can increase, that's all the better. My aim is to eventually also leave the Philippines behind to a successor, and concentrate myself more to Northeast Asia, Japan, Korea, and especially China, maybe, if God wills. We never know, because it's such a big country. It's hard for me to believe that God will leave China without any help down the line. It's hard for me to believe, because it's such a big portion of humanity. In our Father and the Son and Holy Ghost. Amen.